Welcome, dear friends. I'm Masood, the Space Geek. So I'm providing this feedback for all the writers who submitted, but also writers in general, on how to make sure that your script is ready for production. Just following on the writing contest winners announcement, you might have noticed that I didn't choose a bonus. So one of the potential awards was that I would choose a script from the submissions that I will produce next year in collaboration with the writer, of course. Now, I didn't choose one, and I'm not trying to be nasty here. It's all a learning process. We're all learning. So I hope you take this feedback in the spirit that it was intended. So the main reason why I didn't choose a script from the submitters is that none of them were actually ready for production. And that's okay. Like I said, it's a learning experience. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, these feedbacks are not just from me. These are also some of the generic feedbacks that the judges gave on almost all the scripts that were submitted. So let's go through the feedback. So feedback number 5, keep it simple. And by that we mean don't have too many plots in there. Don't have too many things happening because you only got 5 minutes to show the story or to show the character's journey through the story. So you need to make it fairly simple to follow for the audience. Now, generally, people who write novels and big feature film scripts fall into this trap. Short films are meant to be very much focused. It needs to get onto the story fairly quickly. You only got 5 minutes to tell the story. And one thing that I noticed is that some of the short film scripts were actually a larger story trying to fit into that 5-minute time slot, which you can do. It needs to be a story of its own. So keep it simple. So feedback number 4, following on from the last feedback, focus on one character. Again, you got 5 minutes to tell the story. It's a lot easier and a lot more achievable if you focus on one single character. That doesn't mean that there are no other characters in your story, but the focus needs to be on your main character. What is their journey? What are they learning through this journey? Which leads me on to number 3. Tell a story. Tell a complete story. Again, this is a trap that most people fall into, is that they want to tell a massive, big story within 5 minutes. Now, that's very hard to achieve. It's not impossible, but it's very, very hard to achieve. And when I say complete story, so it needs to have the beginning, middle, and the end, just like any other story. There have been some scripts that were kind of left halfway. They didn't tell us the ending. So there was, from an audience perspective, there was no, satisfaction of knowing where the journey ends or what happens. So it needs to be a complete story, and it needs to be a story. Again, some novelists would fall into this trap, is that they try and describe the scenery. This is a visual medium, so you need to focus very little on the scenery, just what the actions are and what the dialogues are. So these are the basic building blocks of a short film script. Feedback number 2, please use a scripting software or screenplay software. A dedicated screenplay software is a lot more suited to writing short film scripts or film scripts in general. That's because these softwares are dedicated to format them in a play script format. And this format has been evolving throughout the ages, throughout the years, into the current format that it is now. And that's the best way that people can read and make sense of the story. And the number 1 and the most important feedback that I can give you is that read the criteria of the festival very carefully. Make sure that you address those criteria with your script. This is not only useful for film festivals and writing contests. In general, this is very useful for any other project that you want to submit your application to, and make sure your submission addresses the festival's terms and conditions. Now, a classic study case is that even though I stress the fact that this is a festival for optimistic science fiction, I still got many horror movie scripts, which is nothing wrong with horror movie, but this particular festival for optimistic sci-fi. And finally, a bonus advice, keep writing. Don't give up. Keep writing and making films. You'll get better and better and better. I'll put a link below to a wonderful YouTube creator who is also a filmmaker. He has wonderful tutorials. His channel is called D4 Darius. You might have heard of him. Watch some of his reviews, short film reviews. You learn a lot from that.